welcome to the Late Night Snacking Podcast.
We're your hosts, Devin and Anita, and this is our weekly podcast where we grab a blanket and some snacks and talk about all things relationships, growing pains, and navigating through, honestly, life itself.
We hope our experiences encourage others to grow to become the best versions of themselves, and for their relationships. Grab a snack and let's go! What is up, snackers?
What's going on, everybody?
Woo! Welcome back to the pod.
Welcome to the Late Night Snacking Podcast.
The what?
The most honest podcast, the most open podcast, and the most wholesome podcast in the world.
Woo! Welcome back for another Wednesday, y'all. We are back, and you love to see it. First things first, I'll address the obvious. There is no dinner time chat this Sunday. I do not want y'all to think that we are going to start getting into bad habits, because we're not. This particular Sunday, we
had some guests.
Yeah,
Your favorite guests, Nate and Alicia.
This is true. We could have planned and recorded before that, but we were not on top of it, and we take fault for that, and we will do better. So, it's also a new segment on our channel, so it's just something that we're having to get used to as far as like remembering to record extra content and plan extra content. But this is what we promised y'all, so we are going to bring it, and we apologize for not having it this past Sunday. But speaking of that, it would be helpful to us, and I think I've said this on another video, if you give us ideas of what topics. Yes, of what you would like to hear us talk about over dinner. Did you like so the two that we have up are perfect examples. Did you like the first one where it was more like story time and like get to know us type stuff, like our first impressions of each other? Or did you enjoy the second one more, where we're doing like truth or dare, or like truth or drink, or like challenges, and like just let us know the type of extra content you'd like to see. Like, we're doing this extra one for y'all because we put it up on a poll and y'all asked for this, so it would be helpful to know what y'all would like to hear during those dinner time chats. So that's a whole tangent, but
if you hear some background noise, you know who it is. Baklava.
Let's address him real quick because he had quite the day today. Quickly,
not a good report at all. Not a good report.
In short, yeah, he's being a real turd today. I left him in the kitchen area because I don't know if y'all know how we have it set up, but he's kind of like in the corner of our dining room space area, and we have it set up for him where we have like a little pen and his crate and stuff like that. So it's a nice area for him to stay in where he's caged in and doesn't have access to the rest of the kitchen area. So today I was like, you know what? We want to start working on his freedom. He's been neutered. He's already 6 months. So like, let's start working on giving him a little bit more space during the day. Big freaking mistake.
Yeah, homeboy not ready for that yet.
At all.
He ain't there yet.
I'm still trying to like relax my nerves from all of that, because I really came home and was just not expecting that. And that really tore up my all nerves that I have in my body. Like, I'm done. So, yeah, he decided he wanted to chew up the lining, the back door. Yeah, the lining on the back door. So it's just like flat wood now. You can't even see the white paint anymore. He ate it all off. Like, I'm done. So... So if you hear him moving around, it's because he's trying to get our attention because he's been in the crate for the past, like, hour or so.
Congratulations, pal. Yeah.
You played yourself, for sure. So he's put away right now. Hopefully next week we'll have a better report for y'all. But
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's always something. But other than that, being pet parents is great. Just not on days like this. But, yeah, so... that was the whole thing about the dinner time chat. So just a reminder, let us know what you want to see. But yeah, obviously we're back for another podcast episode. I'm really excited about tonight's topic. But before we get into that, let's get into the snacks. Oh, do we have anything to catch them up on in general other than Hendrix? Okay, well, I do. So quick wedding update because we haven't really given y'all where we are in the process of things. We are just about to be 50% done with venue costs, which is awesome.
Almost there.
Almost there. We're slowly trucking along. And my bridesmaids, we are good on what dresses we want to do and color. And things are just coming along slowly but surely. Next is Devin's tux, and that's going to be a fun time to go look at. But
oh boy, no, I'm gonna be fresh as hell.
I'm excited because I know it might not be the same for guys, but like finding my dress, well, both dresses was like really special. So like you finding your tux and like seeing what you're going to be wearing the day of is like a really cool feeling. Yeah. So I'm excited for you to experience that. But yeah, so that's really it. Shall we share what we're snacking on? Okay, you go first.
Got the green apples on deck.
Those?
You know, trying to keep it healthy.
Where are they from?
Aldi.
Of course.
Of course.
But yeah, I don't know if y'all are hearing this ASMR crunch, but they're really crispy. Like,
oh, yeah.
I had one earlier today.
These are the ones.
Yeah, they really are. I'm gonna have to start getting those instead of the red ones. I have, oh boy, a little bowl of dried cereal. These are cinnamon squares.
Yay.
Cousin to Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Now,
also from
Aldi. Now, you said that there was a significant difference between Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Cinnamon Squares. Please share with the crowd what you think that is, because I think they taste quite literally the same.
See, those, the Aldi ones don't taste like the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, though they're supposed to be identical. So that leads me to think.
Really close. Oh.
So that leads me to think that it's like that with everything. From cough drops to medicines, I think they're
I'm like
all different.
I'm chewing.
Though they're supposed to be the same thing.
I'm chewing. Just so y'all can hear the crunch. It tastes the same to me. What do you think is different? Is it the sweetness? Is it the cinnamon coating?
You only have the Aldi brand in there though. Like if you had that and then you had the Cinnamon Toast Crunch
and compared it.
Yeah, at the same time.
Interesting.
The Cinnamon Toast Crunch are a lot more cinnamony. If that's not even a word. But they have more of a cinnamon taste in them.
I understand what you're saying.
Those are more on the sweet side.
Okay.
A lot sweeter.
I'm going to take your word for it.
But the Cinnamon Toast Crunch have more of the cinnamon taste, flair to it.
Okay. Interesting. Well, now that we've debated cereal for the past 60 seconds, I think it's only right that we go into unpack the snacks, since we are already unpacking our snacks.
Yeah.
Way too much.
Might as well.
Okay. So I decided to save this one for y'all because we were going to address it on Calvin's episode, which, by the way, if you have not listened to Calvin's episode,
go do that.
That was last week's episode. We got really good feedback on that one. Calvin is awesome. He's been sharing us on the socials. We've been sharing him on the socials. And it's just been a great time seeing like that type of content being spread. So if you haven't checked that out, that was pretty much us talking about conversations that you should have before marriage. Let us know if you would like a part 2, because we did not get to hit all of them, and we would love to hit all of them. So let us know.
And if you ain't following my mans on the gram, go do that.
Yeah.
Calvin Owens with 3 S's, I think.
I think so.
Yep, Calvin Owens with 3 S's.
Yeah.
Also, check out the Backroom Conversations podcast. That's his podcast.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's dope. It's really dope. So, shout out to Calvin, man.
So, yes. So, circling back. I sound like I'm a corporate. Circling back. Piggybacking off of.
Ew.
But, yeah, so I was going to use that unpack the snack for Calvin's episode, but It was just too juicy of a question. I knew we were going to sit there with him too long on it. So I was like, let me just save it for me and Devin and we'll go from there. I knew this one was going to be a little hot take one. It would be a little controversial one. So why not shake things up and go that route? So, la question is, do you think men could survive without women and women could survive without men? Point blank. So here are a couple of the responses, and
heck no, that's what everybody pretty much thinks.
Pretty much, but
everybody said no, that it wouldn't work.
No, and I got a couple in my DMs too, which y'all always come through in the DMs. I think I'm just gonna start doing the status on,
and then just letting people.
Yes, because it's something about the comments that I'm not projecting, but I'm just saying I feel like people don't want to put their thoughts in the comments because they're nervous about what other people are gonna think about their opinion.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
So they end up DMing me and we end up having a conversation about it. So I think they just feel maybe a little bit more seen, or they just don't want to put their answer out on the thing,
that makes
which
sense.
is fine, which is fine.
Understandable.
Yeah. So here are a couple that we got on the post. So we got, in short, no. And then we got, no, we are perfectly made and created for each other. Is it possible for a man to live without a woman and vice versa? Yes, we've obviously seen it done. However, we both have our strengths that the other can benefit from and should be celebrated by their opposite sex counterparts. Example, my husband has his strength to lift me up, and I have his soft place to land. We need each other to have our different needs met, and to serve the other with our strengths as well, which I love that. A couple others I got were she said no, and then I was saying same. I feel like each party brings something that the other needs. And then she said, I think men think they can most of the time because they don't realize that they have so much more potential, and it increases when the right woman is in their life. Go from being okay to sleeping on the floor to having the best sleep of their lives in an actual comfortable bed.
Oh wow.
But just an example that like sometimes just having a woman does elevate your life is the point that she was trying to get at. And last one, she said, I say yes, both could survive, but it wouldn't come naturally. Both would be operating in their ego over independence or as a result of some sort of trauma. I think intimacy is just a basic human need in general. Just my opinion. So, great answers. Thank y'all for responding. As always, we love y'all's points of views. It helps us create conversations like this. So thank you. What are your thoughts?
Okay, well, let me step into my villain scene real quick.
I already warned y'all on my story that me and Devin have opposing views on this. So
do I think we could survive without each other? Yes. But it would be it'd be a catastrophe. Like, it'd be god awful. Like, if the world didn't have any women in it, it'd be bloody and disgusting. Guys would probably end up killing each other before the day's over with, over something. Like, I'm almost certain of it, because you got like alpha males, then you got like beta males, or like it's just. And I mean, I say the same thing vice versa for women, but I do think that women would have a harder time surviving without men on Earth, for the simple fact, and no, I'm not being sexist. I'll say it again. No, I am not being sexist. This is just my opinion. Ladies, something's wrong with your toilet. Your toilet's not working. Are you going to stick your hands down there in that toilet and fix your toilet? 9 times out of 10, the plumber is a guy. Same thing with things go wrong with the car. Need your tire change, need your oil change, different things like that. And I know some women who know how to change their tire, but I don't know not one woman who says like, man, I enjoyed changing my own oil in my own car. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know anybody that says that. And when you take it to a mechanic, 9 times out of 10, it's a guy. So I'm looking at it on like
physical labor,
yeah,
basic
like
needs
strengths
like
and
that.
stuff like that. Now, with the fellas, we're talking about basic survival. Not so we're taking wants out of it. Because of course guys will want women around. That's a want. I mean, is it necessary to have? Not necessarily. I feel like we would be fine. Fine as in we'd be breathing. we'd continue to breathe, but of course there would be conflict and stuff somewhere. And I feel like men have an understanding of playing a role in society. And not to say that women don't, but I feel like as men, we're more prone to just kind of sucking it up and completing a task, even though it could be our least favorite task. We'll just do it for the sake of community, because if you're on a planet with all women or all men, you're going to have a community. It's just y'all. So you don't have to worry about any other species of people. It's just you guys. So for the sake of community, I feel like guys would be, inclined to, playing whatever role it may be and not being too picky about it and just getting the job done for the sake of making everything go, afloat. Women, on the other hand, I don't think it would be like that, because it's, girl, I'm not doing that. You do it. Well, I got to do it. You do it. You got more experience. Since you bad, you do. See, I just don't think it'd be too much fight with the guys. Just be like, hey, we're here. This is what we're doing. Women, on the other hand, I think, I asked her, I was like, so let's just say your job was to, I guess, work on cars or whatever. Right? And she was just like, and I know, she doesn't really know much about cars or whatever, but if that's the task that they give her, hey, we got somebody that does trash, we got somebody that keeps the community clean, we have somebody that does the food and cook. Hey, we need you to do strictly transportation stuff. I don't think that would be her favorite thing to do. I do think it would be some push there, and she would probably request to do something else. But that's just my opinion. Maybe she wouldn't, but that's just my opinion. This one doesn't really like getting dirty that much, and fixing cars is a very filthy job. So I just don't think she would. Not to say that she couldn't do it. I just don't think she would want to do it, and just she would. But yeah, that's where I stand for it. In scene.
Oh boy.
Now, side note. We do need women because they bring out the softer side of us.
Yeah. Which
is necessary. And we don't have to be in this tough macho state all the time. They definitely bring on the nurturing that I think we all need.
But there's a lot that comes with nurturing that is more than just let me care about your feelings. And this is why I don't feel like you think women would have a harder time, but I truly think y'all would have a harder time, because you are categorizing what this woman utopia would be by a certain type of woman. You're thinking of me and maybe a select 20 women that which are so there's other women that are not like us out there. So I understand where you're coming from, because you're basing it off of my personality and maybe other friends that are girls that you have that may not work so well in a utopia of women like that. But I'm pulling it broader scale, as if we were not raised how we were raised or anything. We were just put in a land with women, and y'all were put on a land with men. How would everybody act? And I think what you're missing in terms of yes, we would struggle. I agree with physical things, just based off of how we are physically made. we are not as handy as men. Are they trades we could learn and teach each other? Sure. But if we were to go into your world, structures might look a little different. Streets might look a little different. Y'all just have y'all's strength. You're stronger. You're better with hands, with making things and stuff like that. And that's awesome. But not to call men dumb, but I just feel like we are smarter in the sense of getting things done. And I just feel like the way we would run our society would be smarter, more efficient, more peaceful. Like, so I don't agree with the, oh girl, you do this and da da da. Like, I just don't think it would be as catty in terms of like if we needed to survive. Like,
you don't think it'd be as catty?
I don't.
I don't know.
I don't. And but also
considering that's the epitome of American TV right now.
But you're thinking right now. I don't think I'm really thinking of like right now. Like I'm taking like we're just put on a land. Like social media doesn't exist. Like TV doesn't exist. TV personalities like. Sorry, y'all. He's like whimpering, so I'm trying to like talk over him, but. Sorry, he's having like little dreams, but yeah. So I'm taking all external factors and just being like, you're put on a land, survive. Yeah. Like that's just kind of what I'm thinking. But in terms of like nurturing, I'm thinking of like, y'all see the demographic for teachers, y'all see the demographic for nurses. Like there are things that women are just a little bit better at than men in terms of that, but which I think would really help us in our land. So I think like to agree with you, I think we could. I just don't think that it would be like best. Like I truly do think that men and women do need each other. Yeah, no. Like we do. Like the person said, or like multiple people said, like each other's downfalls, like us not being physically great, like that's where y'all come in. Y'all not being like maybe 100% book smart or like nurturing, being able to nurse somebody or wrap a bandage around somebody that's bleeding and having that nurturing spirit. Like we bring that, you know what I mean? Like it's a good balance. So yeah, I think it's interesting, like both opinions, but because I think some men would agree with you too. Yeah. But yeah. So, just interesting. I wanted to see. I know that wasn't very like dating related, but just wanted to see where y'all stood on that. How much time did we waste on that? Because we really got into it.
Like 20 minutes. Okay. No, probably not even out. That's a reach. Probably like 10.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's hop into the topic because this is a very I don't want to say like deep, but it is one of our more deeper.
Yeah, it's very real.
Topics. Yeah, very real.
Things that I think we all see.
Yeah.
Every day.
I think so too.
At some point.
Okay, so le topic tonight is touching on anxiety and partners with anxiety, how to deal with that, things to look out for, our experience with it, etc. So getting into really good stuff. And anxiety doesn't have to mean depression or anything. It could just mean you are just naturally anxious about things happening in life, and maybe you react to it in certain ways, and your partner is having to go off of you. So okay, let's get into it, I guess. If I'm crossing fingers because it's just been a long day. I'm hoping I don't get emotional about anything, but it is very personal to me. So if I do, I apologize, but just giving you a heads up so you're not like, what the fuck, this girl crying? It's not anything crazy. It's just
let it all out.
It's been a whirlwind of a day. Okay. So let's get into it. I guess I'll start off since I'm said party with, that struggles very badly with anxiety, and I have for like a super long time. I won't talk about my whole life, but just kind of like where it started was, from what I remember, I saw something on TV. It scared me / triggered me, kind of felt like my chest was tight and was having a hard time breathing and had no clue what that was. Never had felt like that before. Never felt like my heart was racing like that. It was just really weird feeling, ran and told my mom I couldn't breathe. They brought me to the hospital because they didn't know that I was literally having like a panic attack. So, sorry, that's pretty much where that started. Doctor pretty much was just like, yeah, you just had a little bit of a panic attack. These can come up when you're like triggered or scared or whatever. Just normal things that like if you have fear, of course you're gonna have a panic. So so we brushed it off. It was fine. Then my grandpa passed away when I was in, I think, 7th grade, and that is really when it like took off and hasn't really subsided since. Like I've been dealing with it on and off, much better now, but really bad back in like 7th grade. So I realized that was like a large trigger for me, like somebody passing away or just death in general. Like Devin knows, like my biggest fear is death. Like I just, that is something that triggers me very heavily. I don't like to see it. That's why I don't like horror movies. I don't like seeing people dying. I don't like hearing about people dying. It's just not, it triggers me very, very badly. So that is pretty much where it took off, to the point where I needed medication because I was having a hard time sleeping, going to school, socializing. Like it was bad. I was having to like go to the bathroom and like calm myself down like during school days and stuff. Like it was just not great. So I would say like high school came around, I was dealing with it a little bit better, and then college rolled around and it was kind of an on and off thing. Like that's just a naturally stressful environment, like school.
Deadlines.
Yes.
All these classes, all these different
tests.
things.
Yeah, trying to keep up with things, trying to keep grades at a certain amount so I could keep scholarships and things like that. Like it just high pressure, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. I perform well under pressure, but my body and physical being does not. Like I get it done, but at what cost? Like I'm struggling. So I would say like my sophomore year, junior year, I struggled with it a little bit. I experienced another loss. I lost one of my teammates. So it just fluctuated. Like I would like be okay, and then something would happen and I would like tip me off the edge again. So I've been battling with it for a long time. More presently, and this is kind of where Devin comes into play and where I want y'all to hear, is because these are things that happen in real time, that if you're dealing with it, if you're said party with anxiety, or if you're the partner, like I want y'all to hear a real life situation to how both sides play into this. But when was it? I would say right before COVID, which is ironic because in my eyes, COVID is what pulled me out of it, which is wild because I think COVID sent people into it. But I would say a couple months before COVID, I'm not exactly sure. And this is the hard thing. Maybe my friends with anxiety can resonate, but like sometimes you just don't know what sets it off.
It just kind of happened.
It just kind of happened. I was actually working the job I'm working right now. Well, not the exact role, but for the same company. I was working with them. It was my first like kind of big girl job to where, you know, I'm paying my bills with this paycheck and stuff like that. I was living away from my parents. I was living with a roommate, and it was just kind of like my first step into like, you know, Adulthood, thank you. I was about to say womanhood, but that's not what I was trying to go for.
I got me a job and I pay bills. Womanhood.
Womanhood. Girl power. But yes, adulthood. So I don't know. I think I want to say it was because I fell into a routine, which is odd because I like routine. That's actually what keeps my anxiety down, is predictability. But I think I just got into a rut. Like I was doing the same thing every day. Have y'all seen that SpongeBob episode where it's like Squidward and he's living in that like utopia of Squidwards, and they just do the same thing every day, and he's just so drained at the end because he's like, there's no like change.
Right.
That's what that felt like for me, and I think that itself was giving me anxiety, that like
okay.
nothing else was happening in my world. It just felt like I was living the same day
Like
over and over. Yeah. So that, I guess, was stressing me out. I'm pinning it to that. I feel like that's what it was. And I would just have random attacks like during the day. During work, I would ask like if I could go home because it was that bad, to where I was like crying in the bathroom, hyperventilating, couldn't breathe, like at my desk, my chest was tight, couldn't get work done. So I'm like having to play sick, tell my boss like I can't come in, like all types of stuff. I had anxiety going to work. I had anxiety at work. I had anxiety coming home from work because my night routine was going to be the same thing it always was. Like, so it was just a lot. Like, I was overwhelmed. And at this time, me and you were, I don't know, maybe like 5-ish months into dating. So you kind of saw that, and you can touch on that in a minute. I'm almost done wrapping my little journey up. But so you were there for that, and you saw that. And then it might have been like the next year, I went through another bout, and that was the last bout that I've been through. I haven't had one that bad since. But the one before COVID was more of just like panic attacks, and then the one that was a year later was I could not eat. Like, it was a weird thing. I don't know if I was just having so much anxiety that it was showing up in different ways, but I wasn't really having panic attacks. I was having a hard time swallowing my food. And I lost a lot of weight during that time. Because I just could not eat. I had to like drink stuff, like if it was like smoothies, like anything that was soft. Like if I had to chew something up and I felt it going down my throat, I would either like gag or just like be so scared to eat it that I would just like spit it back up.
Yeah.
And it was weird. I don't know. It was maybe like a month or two of that, to where just like I couldn't eat. And Devin, we had been dating for a longer time, so you really saw that, because that was me like in your apartment and stuff, and we were almost living together at that point, so you got to see that too. But thankfully, that was like 2 years ago. I haven't had anything bad since, and it's really just like I've learned to manage it, like cope with it. We'll touch on this when we're giving some tips, but I think a main thing that I had to learn and understand was like, this is a debilitating thing that you're gonna live with for the rest of your life. Like, you're not just gonna magically get rid of your anxiety. There's always gonna be triggers. There's gonna be things that are gonna like set it off on you, and you just have to learn how to like manage it and deal and cope. Like, what are things that help me? And that's just all kind of stuff I had to learn like along the way. What are things that calm me down? What helps me get my breath back? Does a walk help me? Does watching something familiar help me? So these are all things that I had to learn. But yeah, thankfully I'm a lot better now. But I mean, it's something that can always just keep coming back up. But
it always finds its way.
Always finds its way. No, I have not done therapy. Yes, I have considered therapy for it, but I am okay with how I've been handling it, and therapy is always in the back of my mind, because I don't think there's anything wrong with therapy. I just luckily got good at handling myself.
Yeah, like coping with it.
Yeah. So, but I'm always open to therapy. I just haven't gone yet. So, okay. Your thoughts, because the two kind of weird ruts or bouts that I went through, you were there for both of those. One was a lot earlier in our relationship, so maybe you didn't like understand some things, but you saw it come back up. What was that experience like for you as the partner who maybe doesn't really understand like what's going on with me? Yeah.
I had always heard people talk about like anxiety attacks and stuff like that. Mind you, I heard people talk about it, but never really knowing what it looks like until like we started dating. Because I've never been with anybody who had like anxiety attacks or displayed anything like that. So it was definitely new to me. Um, I think my biggest thing was one, I was really just genuinely trying to understand,
Yeah.
like what it was, or what was it that was causing you anxiety?
Yeah.
Because like it would be like in the middle of the night, could be anywhere between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and she's just up crying. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I would not, like, I'm dead sleep, and just I don't know. I think it's like maybe like my subconscious was kind of like still like alert,
Aware.
and
Yeah.
So I'd wake up and then like just like asking like what's wrong, like why, like it's like 2:30, like
Yeah.
what's going on, like
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe she's got like some devastating news or something. So it's already so off rip. I'm already kind of like, what's wrong? Like,
Yeah.
so that, and like just like a lot of times it would just be like, yeah, like I'm antsy right now, and I'd be like, well, why? Like, what could possibly? And I noticed. I mean, it seems like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like insensitive. But I'm just kind of like, what could possibly be wrong at 2:30 in the morning? Like, we both got work tomorrow, bro. Like,
Yeah.
we need to be asleep. What you mean? Like, so, and I'm like, well, like, what's wrong? And then, like, sometimes, like, she'd tell me, like, you was just like her, just like getting wrapped up in her thoughts and stuff, like,
Yeah.
or either, it's like I don't know, I don't know, like my chest just feels tight, like I'm just feeling like really like on edge, and I'm like, I hear that, and I'm able to like process that, but I still don't know what, like, why it's happening and why now.
Same.
So like,
yeah, we're both,
so of course, so
yeah.
if she doesn't know and I don't know, so that makes, just off rip, like it makes me feel useless,
Yeah.
because it's just like, bro, like you obviously don't know what to do. You don't even know what this is or what it looks like. This is your first time seeing it. You're asking her what's wrong or what it is. She doesn't know. So like, I don't know, like in my head, I'm like, bro, am I just really supposed to turn over and go back to sleep and just pretend like this girl isn't bawling her eyes out, like, or do something? So, but it's like I don't know what to do. So like, I never told you this, but I was teaching. I was working at the school. I was working at Fort Mill at the time. Like, and I remember like I asked Liz, like, I said, do you ever have like anxiety attacks? Like, do you have real bad anxiety? And Liz was like, yeah, like hell yeah. And so I'm like, so like, what helps? Like, what, like, does Mike do something like that helps you out with that? Like, what does he do? Like, give me some pointers, bro, so I know what to do in these situations, because I found myself here a few times and just felt like useless, like I'm just no good in this situation at all. So like, and so Liz told me, she was just like, honestly, Mike, she was like, yeah, like sometimes Mike holds me or whatever, or she'll be like, or he'll ask me like, is there anything that I need from him?
Yep.
Sometimes like he'll scratch my head, like rub my back or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, like, so like comforting thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like of course that came to mind, but sometimes like that doesn't work good enough.
Yeah.
So it kind of left me with just like my hands out, like I don't know what to do. But yeah, I talked to Liz about it, and Liz gave me those pointers, and I think from then on, like, I think it helped. I mean, it's really more of a question for you, like if me comforting you helps or not. So
Yeah.
I at least knew that much. I knew the basics to this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
so I was able to just be like, is there anything you need from me? Like, are you okay? Like, just kind of hold her or whatever. Tell her that, everything's fine, everything's okay. Like, like don't stress it. Whatever it is that's got you like worked up, like don't stress, bro. You get a brand new 24 tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
brand new day. So you can kind of make that to be whatever you want. But the second bout, so of course we had, I had been here before, or we had been here before with the anxiety thing, and with the eating thing, like that was it was like starting from square one over again for me, because I'm like, just when I thought like I kind of got the hang of this, like
Same.
now you don't want to swallow, like you don't
Yeah.
want to eat, like this is wild. Like
Yeah.
now I really don't know what to do. Like, Because what I'm not gonna stuff food down your throat.
Right.
Swallow
right.
it, eat it. Like I'm not gonna do that. Like,
Right.
So I'm just like,
Yeah.
so I think like there, I did what I knew to do, which was to comfort her, and when she needed me to, and just kind of let her figure that out. Like, as bad as that sounded, and like as tough as that was to kind of like experience with her and like see that, it's just kind of like I've done what I know how to do. Like, I think this part is more like on you for real. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of how I saw it. It's just like not to be like rude about it, like, oh yeah, you just need to figure it out on your own, like, but yeah, like only you can get yourself out of it. There's nothing I can do or say to make you want to swallow again and eat. Like I knew, like there was nothing I could do. So,
well, you couldn't physically fix it, but you could support.
Yeah.
Which is what you did. I mean, you did your best in that.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like
that one was harder than the first
you.
bout because the first time around you were still living in Colombia. So kind of like you saw me here and there through that bout. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have to see like an everyday struggle through that and like not being able to go to work and stuff like that. Like you weren't there for that physically. So that was more you like supporting from afar, kind of like. Oh
yeah, the first time I wasn't still in school.
You were still in school, yeah. So you like you said, like you just kind of did what you could, and you asked questions and stuff like that to try and like figure out what to do. The second one was definitely a lot harder because that was in front of your face, and it was very much like obviously we sat down and had dinner together and stuff like that, and like he's done and I haven't even gotten through like a bite, like and that was like really tough. I think that one just kind of started because this is what I think is like I was chewing and then it like either slipped or it felt like I was gonna choke, so I gag reflexed and spit it back up, but I probably wasn't about to choke, but then it turned into a fear of choking to where I just didn't want to eat.
Yeah, it was just all mental at that point.
It was all, and that's what it is all the time. Like, it is, at least for me. I don't want to ping anybody else's anxiety on what I think their anxiety is, but for me, it is always mental. Like, no matter what it is always my brain is thinking 10 billion negative bad things that could happen to me versus what is actually happening to me in my reality. And I'll believe it. And it's hard to like get out of that. But I think like what it was for me, a big thing was just like you being there. A big thing that helps me with my anxiety is like being distracted. Found this out because like years ago, we were on a road trip. Of course, I was having anxiety attacks, so we had to pull over. And we stopped at a Burger King, and me and my mom went into the bathroom, and she was like trying to calm me down. I don't think she realized what she was doing, but she was like, oh, I can't wait because the next stop on the trip is da-da-da-da. Like, she just started talking about some shit that had nothing to do with my anxiety attack.
Right.
And instantly I stopped thinking about like my body and and then I'm starting to think about like, oh yeah, that does kind of sound fun, and we are going to be there in a few hours and whatever it was. So I realized that was a quick thing that I realized was like, okay, I like distractions. It helps me take away from what is happening to me right now. So I would do that when I was going through that first bout. I would tell my roommate, like, I'm going to come to you when I'm feeling anxious. When that happens, can you go on a walk with me and just talk? Tell me about your day. Tell me what you're doing, like, for your class, like, whatever. And it would help me all the time. Getting on the phone with somebody would help me. Just talking about anything that other than the fact that I cannot breathe right now is helpful to me. So I think I told you that, and we started doing that. Like, you would, you're playing the game, you're talking about school, like, it would help me not think so hard about, like, how I'm, like, struggling.
Right.
So kind of want to go into the tips a little bit because we are pulling up towards the end of our episode. But I want to go into tips because like when Devin was saying I didn't know what to do, that's because 1, I was not communicating what he needed to do, and 2, he was not asking what he could do. So we were both like feeling a type of way about the situation and not telling each other what each other needs. Whereas you, it's like, I need to know what's going on with you so I can either do something or hug you or something. And me, I'm like, I need you to do something because you just sitting there while I'm freaking crying and can't breathe is not helping me. So I want to get into the tips because like both somebody can be in a relationship where they feel like one of us. So I think as the person with said anxiety, you have to be flat out about what you need, because in the middle of an attack, that is not the time to communicate what you need from somebody. Those need to be preset things, because I was running into that when I would wake up in a panic or crying and you would ask me what is wrong. That is not my time for me to explain to you what's happening to me, what's going on, what I need you to do. Because I'm such in a frenzy that I just need a quick fix to like bring me down.
Yep.
So if you are said person with anxiety, like, please communicate with your partner what is helpful to you during times like that. Like I said, for me, it's distraction. Let's go for a walk. I need fresh air. I need to breathe. A lot of the times if we're in the house, like, it's funny because people with anxiety and stuff probably feel me on this, but like, I haven't watched The Office over and over again because I love it, which I do, but that's not the reason why I watch it over and over again. It's because it's familiar and I know what's going to happen. So it's not a threat to me and it's not scary to me because I can predict the next scene that's going to happen. That is a big thing with my anxiety as well, is like just the unknown. Like literally the fear of the unknown gives me a lot of panic. I don't like when plans change. Like that's why when we make fun of me being type A, but I am type A because of my anxiety. Like I just don't like when things are not mapped out, because I don't want to know what happens if it's not mapped out, if that makes sense. I don't want to know the unknown. Like I want to predict as much, I want to control it as much as I can. So that's why like a calm down thing for me is to watch something that I've seen billions of times, because it's comforting to me to know what happens next, if that makes sense. So those are just a few. Some like physical things obviously is like hugging. I don't like, oh, what's wrong? Like the talking during that time, I can't. Like I need you to talk and me shut up and just listen to what you're saying, or like a hug. And I know sometimes like, just a tip for my anxiety people, holding something really cold in your hands is a really good distraction as well. It helps kind of regulate. But yeah, what are some tips that you have as like the other party that's with the partner with anxiety?
Like she said, the distractions, just kind of start rambling about something. Like rambling. Don't even tell her like, or him, like what you're doing, getting ready to talk, or what you're about to do. Just be like, just kind of like bring something up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, bro, what's the name of the restaurant we were talking about going to or whatever? I think we should go to this weekend. Like, just like something random, just something off the wall. I feel like that helps. Yeah. Because it helps the mind to kind of escape from the present situation.
I think a big one too is like validating your partner. I think it's helpful when you're just there and listening. And I mean, you can ask what's wrong if I'm not like hyperventilating, but like it's helpful to know that somebody's there because you feel less crazy. Oh, I knew our camera was going to cut off. Oh, that's so annoying.
Not again.
I don't know. I feel like this is going to happen every time. I don't know if our camera is like fit to work anymore. Like, I don't know. We might need a new battery. But okay.
Possibly, but
We'll wrap it up. Validating your partner is really important. It's like I said, a lot of it's mental. So honestly, like when I'm freaking out, I do feel like a little crazy sometimes, like that my mind can like get to the places that it gets for whatever reason. Like it's nice to have somebody validate your feelings and be like, I understand like why you'd be nervous about this so-and-so that you have tomorrow. Like I get it, but like it's okay. Like you don't have to, panic or whatever. Like just having that little bit of validation is like, okay, like I'm okay. Like it's not as bad as I think or whatever. I think another one that's important too is just like kind of encouraging your partner to like face some of those fears that they are nervous about, and kind of just encouraging them to open up and talk about things that do bother them. I know like how I mentioned earlier, how death is like a big trigger for me. Like Devin knows that, and that's why I don't watch like certain crime things and like horror movies with him and stuff like that. But he understands that like that is not just because like I'm a chicken. It's just like that is a very big trigger for me, and that is, if I watch a horror movie, I'm going to have an anxiety attack. Like that's just like how it is. So, but some things I can conquer and over fear and stuff like that. But that just is one of my triggers, and he knows that because I've communicated that with him. So as the anxiety party, another tip, make sure you're communicating those triggers and things with your partner. That way they're not accidentally triggering you, or like if Devin didn't know that horror movies was like one of my triggers and he was like, oh, you're such a wimp, like you don't want to watch anything, like like that's invalidating me and maybe I haven't said it. So, communicate that.
I'll say,
go ahead.
Be patient.
Yeah.
With them too. Like, I'm 100% sure that they don't want to have anxiety. So this isn't something that they're asking for.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Like you said, like some things probably can trigger that, but just be patient. Like, don't be, here we go with this again.
Right,
like, don't be that guy or that girl. Just be there, be supportive, be in the moment, and do whatever it is that you can in your power to help. Whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
Help. Don't just stop, stare, and watch. Like, don't do something.
Which is huge because, like, I know when I'm panicking sometimes, especially around people or even around you, like, I do, like, sometimes I feel like a burden because I'm having to, like, stop the fun, essentially, of whatever the situation is because I'm having an anxiety attack or whatever. So just like you said, like, just be patient and don't see it as like, here we go with this again. Because if I really felt like you felt that way about me, I probably would not even want to be vulnerable like that around you. It would make me be defensive. I would try and be away from you having those attacks and trying, which wouldn't be great because then I'm having to like totally deal with it on my own. Yeah. Which I've gotten a lot better with just in general because I'm not around Devin all the time. But, just, be patient like he said. I think one more main thing before I pull up my last point is just we're saying help and, do what you can and listen to your partner and whatever they're saying that is helpful towards them. Try and do those things. But I think it's important to also set up boundaries and not engulf yourself so much into this person's anxiety. Like, don't, like, yes, empathize, but don't let it be a crutch, not a crutch, but like a, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess just don't wrap yourself too much into like the things that they are also worried about, or feel like every time they're having an anxiety attack that you are the one that has to do something and you have to drop everything you're doing. Like, I guess just don't let it debilitate you too. Because I know, especially me, and I deal with this with friends and stuff too, that like my friends' problems become my problems because I'm an empath and I want them to feel better, and then I get stressed about it. So I guess just as the party who doesn't have anxiety, lucky you, don't get so wrapped up in your partner's anxieties. Just be a support, because that's really all you can be. It's kind of like what Devin said earlier, that it's like, I'm not trying to be mean, but this is something that you have to work through in your mind. Like, I'm not up there to tell you what to think, so you have to learn how to like divert your thoughts and help yourself. I'm just here as a body to support. If you need a hug, if you need a walk, like, I can do those things. But don't feel like you have to be the one to save your partner from their anxiety. And like, just don't wrap yourself too much into that, because that can be really debilitating to you, and then both of you are in a bad headspace. You know what I mean? So last point that I kind of want to say is just to help. This is coming from both parties. It's what I said earlier, is just to realize that this is something that you just have to manage. It's not something that you're going to completely get rid of. Right. This is something that I, unfortunately, am just going to have to live with, and I'm a lot better now of taking care of myself with it. But it is something that, I mean, I literally just had like a little attack like yesterday. And I told you, like, I'm kind of feeling anxious right now. My chest is a little tight. I don't really know what's going on with me. What did I do? I put on a show I always watch. I ate some food and I was okay. Yep. So I know how to like work myself through it. But you came through and you were like, is there anything you need from me? As in, like, do we need to go for a walk? Do you need a hug? You know what I mean? Like, are there things I can do? And I told you no. I was like, I'm okay. I probably just need to eat. I'm going to put on some TV. I'm just calm down. And I did. So just realize, as the partner who either has it or doesn't, that this is not something that you're trying to get rid of. Don't try and play Superman and try and like rid of your partner's anxieties. Yeah. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Just help your partner manage it. As the person who has anxiety, just realize this is something you need to manage. And it'll seem less debilitating that way. But okay. I hope that was helpful. I didn't cry. I got a little choked up, but I didn't cry, so that's good. Good job. Thank you. But I hope this was helpful. I know a couple people have wrote in and asked us to address mental health and things like that. And that is something that we live with and deal with. And I don't want to brush over that as if that's not an issue that we don't have. You know what I mean? Because we do. So I hope that was helpful for y'all. I think we're gonna go ahead and just hop into the hookup and then close it down. Yep. Is that the move? Great. All right, let's hop into the hookup. I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me. I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me. I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me. What's going on, y'all boys? And I will be hooking y'all up. I want to hook y'all up with Vibrant Bombshell. Woo! Yes, this is a business that is ran by my sister, Mrs. Tamara Johnson. Yes. So shout out to Tamara. Tamara. I think she just did a relaunch. I think she just revamped the brand. This is Vibrant Bombshell on IG. Go ahead and, you know, hit that follow button. Vibrant, Vibrant, Bombshell, Bombshell. Head on over to the site, you know what I'm saying? Check it out. Do a little shopping. I think she put up some new things up there. I think there's some car fresheners and some, you know, some cute little stickers up there. Might have to, you know what I'm saying? I might have to cop me some of them. For real, just to have like some dope stickers. But the website is very like colorful, and you know, she's big on, you know, being kind to yourself. Positive, I think that's vibes. Positive vibes. That's the big thing. All that good stuff. The big message behind her brand is being kind to yourself. So, you know, be a vibrant bombshell, I guess. Yeah, be a vibrant bombshell. Period. So yeah, vibrantbombshell.com. Yay. Head on over. Get on the IG and, you know what I'm saying, follow her, show her a lot of love, because she loves this brand, which she should, because it's hers. But
I just enjoy seeing my people enjoy their things they create. So it's lit. It's lit. Vibrant bombshell, y'all.
Proud of you, Tamara. We'll definitely be ordering some stickers.
Yep. Shout out T-Money.
So, all right. Great job. Shall we close it down?
Yep. We'll close it down.
Cool. All right, y'all. We are closing it down as all. Oh, that's not how it goes.
Yeet.
As most good things.
Like all good things. It must come to an end.
As usual. All good things.
Let's come to an end.
Ain't that the truth?
Alrighty,
y'all. I don't know what to say about the camera because every week we think we fix it and we don't. I seriously don't know. I think it's to the point where we might need to take that into Best Buy and be like, why is this dying on us 40 minutes through our podcast when it says we have an hour and 13 minutes?
This has happened more than it should.
I'm done. I'm done. But yeah, so we're going to get that fixed for y'all because obviously this is also a video podcast and we want y'all to see the whole video until the end. So we'll get that fixed. We will have a dinner time chat this Sunday. If y'all could do us a favor, like we asked before, please let us know what you would like to hear.
Yeah, send in some ideas.
Send in some ideas.
Some topics, whatever,
We are here for y'all.
We'll decipher through those.
So, all right. I think that is it. If you are still on YouTube staring at the Late Night Snackin' logo, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment. If you agree or disagree with anything that we said, we like all feedback. Give us all the feedback. So let us know if you listen to us on Apple or Spotify. Make sure you're following us on both. For Spotify, it is the follow button. For Apple, it is the plus button in the top right.
And leave us some reviews. Get turned up.
Ooh, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, get turned up, man. We need that.
Y'all, we haven't gotten a review, I think, since like November of last year.
And that's crazy.
That's literally almost a whole year. Yeah, we put out 2 seasons since then. So a review would be nice. Give us something.
Yeah, especially if you're going to come back every Wednesday. So obviously you like the podcast. So just go ahead and leave a review.
And we have new listeners. Like our numbers are larger than they were this time last year. So I know there's more of y'all. Please leave us a review. It would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. Y'all are killing that. So.
Yeah. So, alrighty, share this episode with a friend. I just feel like this is something that really resonates with more people than we think. So if you know anybody that is also struggling with these, lovely things, send it their way. See if it's something that they could use. Cool. Alrighty. Love y'all. Thanks so much for coming back every Wednesday like you always do. And we will see y'all this Sunday for a dinner time chat. But most importantly, we will see y'all next Wednesday.
All right, y'all. Hold it down now.
Bye.